Welcome to our conversation today. We're going to be talking about the FedBridge initiative at the D8 Group. I'm Seth Berenzweig. I am the founding and managing partner here at Berenzweig Leonard, and among other things, I oversee our corporate M&A practice, and we'll be talking about this exciting initiative today. And let's have everybody else in the panel introduce themselves. Reeba?
Sure, thank you, Seth. Hi, I'm Reeba Magulick. I'm the founding partner of the D8 Group. The D8 Group, we're here DC based. We're a boutique consulting practice, and what we do is we help government contractors win government contracts ethically and within the bounds of the federal acquisition regulations. So in essence, we do business development and capture management as a service. So, having a lot of fun introducing not only existing government contractors, but those who are curious about the government space. How do we sell our products and services into the federal and even state and local governments?
Fantastic. And Adam?
Great to be with you all today. Thank you. I am Adam Kaufman. I spend most of my time in venture capital trying to identify entrepreneurs who are so impressive and helping them build their businesses through capital and other relationship building. We have a little podcast that we have fun with, and I'm thrilled to be with you two.
So this is literally a story that begins three friends walk into a bar. It's literally how it happened. Adam organized a trip to Silicon Valley, and the three of us, together with a larger group, were at Silicon Valley, and specifically with Stanford Business School, and we were having a great time. And at dinner one night, we were at a beautiful Italian restaurant, and the weather was perfect, and the wine was flowing, and we were hanging out with Eric Chen, who is someone that Adam partners with for venture capital. And we were talking about, in somewhat of a fragmented way, about the amazing opportunities that are going on with the federal marketplace in Washington, D.C., and also these amazing companies that are in Silicon Valley. And as I was talking to Eric, it really became apparent to me that these are two incredible places that are not only distanced geographically, but that literally speak two different languages. And very organically, this light bulb popped into my head about starting what ultimately became the FedBridge initiative. To understand it and to really kind of set the table, I'd like to really, Reeba, ask you to explain to us, can you talk to us about what is the federal marketplace and what is the opportunity there? And then we're going to talk to Adam about what's on the West Coast. But can you help us understand what is the opportunity in the federal marketplace?
Absolutely, folks. It is simply incredible. I mean, when you think about even just how we're seated here, Adam on that end, the venture guy with the California connections, us on this side, the DC with our suits and whatnot, working with the federal government, there really is a need for a bridge, isn't there? And wrap your mind around these numbers, guys, okay? In 2022, the federal government spent $6.2 trillion. Can you picture $1 trillion? And this is on everything, goods, services. I always say the federal government buys everything from cotton balls to tanks to IT services and everything in between. And it's absolutely true. Of that, if you're particularly interested in information technology, $58.4 billion with a B. Again, a lot of zeros just on IT in 2022.
Wow.
And that's only the federal civilian space. That doesn't include DoD, Army, Navy, Air Force. So big numbers, right? Let me break it down even further. That was just the federal side. What about state and local governments? If you combine all of the state and local spend last year, the states spent $3.9 trillion on services,
Another
goods.
50%.
It's remarkable. And then interesting, just for our fun friends in California, can you take a guess on how much the state of California spent in 2022?
If the whole nation was $3 trillion, I'd say 500 million.
$400 billion. $400 billion.
Oh yeah, I meant to say. Cut that out. I meant to say 500 billion. So like
You're
1/6.
Yeah, truly. And interesting side note, California is the largest sub-national economy in the world. So now, given that, this is why I'm so excited about this. Think about this. If you have a technology, a cutting edge, bleeding edge innovation around AI, machine learning, data analytics, you name it.
Defense,
right?
drones, yeah, anything.
Healthcare.
Yeah.
There's so many applications, and the reason I'm so passionate about this is no matter what you're selling, Seth, you come up with something. Who better than the federal government? You get a 3 to 5 year contract, generally speaking, right? From a customer that always pays their bills, regardless of what the scenario is, as we all know in present day and time,
Right.
the government always pays their bills. So if you're starting any type of thing, even if you're pursuing the commercial sector, think about the opportunity. Wouldn't you love to have an investment? And there's grants. We haven't even talked about grants that are more R&D based. These are in the millions of dollars.
So you literally have all of these opportunities essentially laid out on a platter. And now we're going to go from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yes.
Tell us, Adam, from the West Coast perspective, what are the opportunities out there in terms of the capabilities and all the technologies
And
that
the
are ready
needs.
to get to
Yeah,
and the needs,
right.
exactly. Help us understand that.
Well, Seth, you were really modest at the beginning talking about how you thought of this idea, because I think it was a brilliant idea. I've been going out there for 15 years, and I never thought of this.
Thank you.
We hear about the really big companies, SpaceX or Palantir. These are now public companies that started out there. But there are countless companies that are nowhere near that size.
Right.
Who
But
need,
that are still powerful and have amazing technologies.
Yes.
They have a need for what Reeba's firm specializes in. I never thought of this. It took you to think of that idea. I used to go out there. I've been going out for 15 years, guys, and I'd meet some entrepreneur who was an MIT undergrad with a Stanford MBA and a Harvard computer science degree in between, and also he found time to become a Navy SEAL. And I'd be so like, literally, I'm thinking of someone who has that bio, and I'd be so amazed at these human beings. Like, what on earth am I doing with my life that these brilliant? It was very intimidating, very intimidating.
I would be.
But what I realized is they need old, more experienced people like us who have been in the marketplace. Maybe we're not inventing the companies that they're inventing, the technology, but we have the business acumen, the marketing thoughts, the business development relationships, the legal expertise, etc.
Right.
They need us. And so I found that I became less intimidated once I realized what we could do for them.
It's amazing, and we're having dinner at this beautiful restaurant that you picked in Palo Alto, and having a little bit of wine, or maybe more than a little bit of wine, and we have these people sitting across the table, and I literally started thinking about this bridge that was able to bring the East Coast and the West Coast together. It's kind of like a business Tower of Babel, but they're able to come together in a way with this virtually non-existent offering to be able to bring this together, where Reeba, you bring all of the business acumen and the understanding behind the scenes on the East Coast, and Adam, you have this deep, many years long relationship with all of these great entrepreneurs and all these partners on the West Coast. And of course, as a business law firm that creates and puts together these deals, it just seemed like such a great opportunity.
We're connecting the dots.
Yep.
Exactly. So we connected the dots.
And I wanted to add a couple of points to what you just shared, Adam. So you were talking about the large companies and the small. Here's another interesting fact about federal government and state and local government. There is very specific set-aside treatment. If you are a small business, if you are a minority-owned firm, if you are a woman-owned firm, if you are a disabled veteran-owned firm, and it goes on and on, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, you get special treatment. I mean,
even on top of the already incredible opportunity.
Exactly. So
Right.
the government, there are mandates in place that say, hey, whether you're the Department of Justice or Department of Commerce or Army, Navy, there's a certain percentage of these dollars that must go to small businesses.
Right.
So I would think, if you're one of these startups or these companies in California with a cool new trend or an idea, you would get favored treatment in that scenario. You don't have to be
not only,
Goliath.
in other words, what you're saying is not only does the government want you, but the big companies in Washington need you, right?
Thank you for that point. That's exactly right. So, like, if you're a large company like a Northrop Grumman or a Leidos, you too have some expectations that in the contracts that you're going to perform, a percentage of those dollars must go to some socioeconomic, class. So you're
Even
right.
just as a small business.
Exactly.
Just being classified as a small business.
Very small business,
Yeah.
et cetera. I have one more thing I wanted to mention, innovation. So the federal government, I mean, you look at the articles, they're looking for innovation. They're looking for fresh blood. And from my perspective, having been in this space for 20 years, it is badly needed. You see the same companies, Adam, over and over, often winning contracts. There's a lack of innovation. Costs are high. Why? Why is that happening? If we could somehow bridge this gap.
Yeah. Adam, explain that a little bit. Explain the language gap. Explain the barriers to entry, just so that the folks on the West Coast can understand that. Because sometimes the gap is so broad that it might not even be appreciated.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's intimidating.
Yeah.
If you're a startup in Northern California and maybe you're a super smart PhD and you have a staff of 12 with you and you have some innovative idea with some first customers, where do you even begin? What phone number do I call? What website do I? Yeah, we'll get that phone number out.
Yeah.
But we've had not just in defense, but we've seen a lot of innovation. We've invested in over 130 startups now since 2013.
Wow.
And we have seen a lot of innovation, to your point, Reeba, in areas like education and financial services, not just defense, also in just general enterprise software that larger companies that we all know, like Salesforce, et cetera, purchase.
Right.
So the bigger companies are looking for this type of technology, but it takes a long time to get from zero to even getting on Google's radar screen.
Right.
And a company like yours could help them secure the biggest customer in the world. I like how you guys always talk about the United States government is the largest customer in the world.
Sure. And so you're talking about novel, unique, bleeding edge technology applications that are pertinent to both the civilian and the military sectors.
Yeah, consumers as well as maybe the defense industry. For instance, healthcare companies that are really on the verge of doing wonderful things for general consumers. Or I thought of a firm being at this law office today called Everlaw, which now 49 state attorney general's offices use Everlaw as one company to do basically legal research without human involvement.
U.S. courts, potential customer.
Well, how about the Department of Justice?
Department of Justice.
I mean, how about
Absolutely.
each legal department of each federal agency?
100%.
That's like just one
100%.
example of a firm in our world needing the services in your world.
Yeah, and think about all of the breaking news that's been happening around quantum computing, AI technology, all of these things
Wearables.
that are happening, all the wearables, and of course all the military needs and opportunities. Tragically, we have a war in Europe that's happening right now, and there's a shortage of military supplies. There's a critical need for the integration of high-end technology to be able to come into play, drone technology, AI. And as we're just sitting there having that dinner and then also spending time at the Stanford Business School on this amazing trip, Adam, that you put together, it just became so apparent. So what we're talking about is what is now being called and is being launched as the FedBridge initiative.
Right.
And Reeba, help the viewers understand, if someone is interested in this and to at least have a conversation about it, what would be the next step for someone to be able to
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, Seth, because I do want to manage expectations too, right? I mean, there's a big, I've talked about those trillions of dollars. There's steps to get there, right? There are very high barriers to entry. And that's exactly why, like you said, Adam, where do I even start? How do I get through the maze? So what D8 Group does is, like I said, we're a boutique consulting practice. I've been in the industry 20 years. My team, collectively, we've had a lot of experience across multiple agencies, federal and state, winning contract awards. Again, ethically, right? So I would like companies to know that it's not an easy game. So here's the situation: if you're accustomed to, selling your ware, I'm selling you this pen in the commercial space. Hey, let's go to the golf course. Maybe you like me. Hey, you're going to take 100 orders. Doesn't work that way in the federal government, right? You've got to be registered in SAM.gov. You've got to have the proper designations. The good news is that D8 Group really short circuits that learning process. We cut through all of the crap, get from point A to point B the quickest. Now, what is quickest? This could be, a 6 to 24 month journey.
It depends on the industry. It depends on your company. It depends on your readiness.
Absolutely. I mean, if this is a grant, that you could get overnight, the cure to cancer, the National Cancer Institute, that's one path. But what we essentially do to start off, we would do an assessment of the company. We'd say, okay, what is exactly the technology? But the most powerful thing that we do from there is we literally take a comb of the market and federal space. So I'd say, hey, Adam, you've got this cool technology. Tell me about it. Who do you support today? Who's the most?
Can I give you a real example?
Please. Okay, yeah, let's talk through a real example.
One of our startups right now has worked a little bit with one particular Veterans Administration hospital.
Excellent.
Just one in one local community.
Right.
And they have an algorithmic way to help get people off of pain medications that they're prescribed after surgeries.
Okay.
There's about 100 million legally prescribed pain meds per year that patients have to wean themselves off of. You all know about the opioid crisis in America.
Yeah.
It's not all illegal back alley drug use. Some of it is not being able to get off your post-surgery medicine. So wouldn't it be great to help a company like Lucid Lane find the best government contracts, whether it's the VA or otherwise, to ameliorate some of this massive problem in America?
And not only
Could you
is
help
that
with something like that?
100%. Absolutely.
It's an amazing market opportunity, but it's also a way for those founders to be able to come in and literally make the world a better place,
Which is their goal.
That's the goal.
And that's our goal too, right? On the federal side. So what we would do is, in order to get from point A to point B the fastest, we would do a comb of opportunities that are coming up in the next 6 to 12 months. Actually, it can be immediately.
You keep saying comb. That's triggering me. I don't have combs.
I'm
It's
sorry.
this thing that you can buy.
First time
Never
I
mind.
ignored it.
It's been a
all
while,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I won't use those trigger words anymore. No, but honestly, the most logical path is to show them that, hey, start with the VA, for example. Look at Defense Health Agency. Look at Health and Human Services. These are related, all focused on federal health and federal health IT, clinical and otherwise.
Solutions, yeah.
Exactly. So let's take a look at what's coming out. So we have
So a company like that just calls you, and then that's how the process gets underway.
Yes, we interview them.
Yeah.
We comb the
that's
market.
good.
And we say, hey, here are
Comb.
logical. These are logical places. We scan the marketplace. And then what's really nice is we get really granular. We can say, here's a $100 million opportunity. Here's the perfect partner for you.
Right. So it's a
here's how you
customized
position for it.
recommendation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, step 2 is we actually hold their hand through getting them connected and moving towards that contract.
And from a legal standpoint, to the extent that it would help facilitate the process, there is a process to work with a federal government savvy law firm that can help do the plug and play, understand the federal acquisition regulation, to understand how to be able to contract and to protect. One of the aspects also, and I won't linger too much on the legal because I want to make sure that nobody falls asleep when they're watching this, but you're talking about a lot of technology. You're talking about a lot of proprietary
licenses,
information.
Exactly.
How do you protect and license your technology to the federal government?
Right.
How do you polish that as an asset of the company, protect it, and engage with the federal government in a way where you not only have a lucrative business opportunity, but you have also protected your IP as to the government, but also for your teaming partners and with your prime sub. I'd like to ask each of you how someone would be able to get in touch with you. Adam, you've got deep West Coast connections. If someone wanted to reach out to you and talk about their company, what would be the best way for them to reach you?
Best way would be via our LinkedIn page, probably, Adam Kaufman or the Up To Opportunity Fund.
Okay, great. And Reeba, if someone wanted to reach out to you.
Yes, please reach out on www.d8group.com. So that's D, the number 8, and group altogether.com. We've got a whole section that will actually explain the FedBridge concept, and we'll get back to you right away on this.
Great. I'm really excited about this initiative. I think it's really going to accomplish great things for great companies.
Thanks for bringing us together, Seth.
You bet. And thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
joining us.